gang violence or no other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's a Black Gen Z mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Now to an Eyewitness News exclusive. For the first time, we're hearing from a woman who says she was chased and threatened by the same man accused in the fatal stabbing of Brianna Cooper. The Eagle Rock woman says Sean Laval Smith confronted her last month and she feared for her life.
Wow. So this super gremlin right here, he actually ended up terrorizing another woman before he killed Brianna Cooper. And it's just more of the same, man. What do you expect? These super gremlins are on demon time, and they're pretty much like a dog without a leash.
Smith, who was arrested last week, is accused of killing Cooper at a furniture store on January 13th. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Haskell spoke exclusively with a woman who says the murder suspect followed her when she was out for a run.
As soon as I saw that picture, I started crying, and I woke up my husband, and I just had the chills. Because you don't know what he would be capable of doing had these men here, not saved me.
Susanna Pardo of Eagle Rock is talking about the police.
Oh yeah, that super gremlin definitely would have killed you. Then he would have went to the convenience store like he's doing in this picture, smoked a Black and Mild, and dedicated this Black and Mild to your passing.
Bulletin showing Sean Laval Smith now in custody and charged with murdering 24-year-old Brianna Cooper back on January 13th. A month before Cooper's murder, Pardo was on a run through Highland Park at North Figueroa and Meridian when she noticed a transient man following her who she now believes was Smith.
A transient man. You mean a super gremlin, bruh?
Start running back, and as I'm starting to run back, he starts running after me. So at that
Woo! I know she was scared. She probably, dang, I mean, this dude like the Black Michael Myers.
point, I started running towards this shop. I go straight to the man, and I ask him for help. I tell him I'm really afraid. I think this man wants to do something to me.
He was harassing her and wouldn't leave her alone. So my employee brought her to the office where I was, and he kind of almost like shooed the guy away. Like, get away from here, get off our property. From afar, he did look like a menacing man.
The man eventually left the auto.
Please tell us why he looked menacing. Please explain to us why he looked menacing.
Body shop before the LAPD arrived. Pardo believes she's alive today because of the actions of the men who work at Starline Motors Incorporated.
His look I'll never forget. His look just looked like he was just ready to do something. He was empty inside. It almost looked, it looked very evil.
Pardo says she wanted to file a police report, but the responding LAPD officers said they weren't able to.
They said that they did not have a code that they could put in there because he didn't touch me. I told them if he touched me, we'd be in a much, different situation. I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, if he got his hands on you, baby girl, you would have been toast.
Pardo has since been interviewed by the homicide detectives assigned to the Cooper case. She doesn't know if a police report following her run-in would have saved Cooper's life and isn't upset with the LAPD, but rather at the system and the lack of support for people like Smith.
There are a lot of people out there that have mental issues, and just because they have mental issues, we just allow them on the street and disregard them, and it puts us, the public, who do pay taxes, in fear.
It does hurt because, like I was here, I saw him, just a couple weeks before she died.
Susanna Pardo still goes on runs, but her husband doesn't let her go alone, so he follows her closely behind in his car to ensure she's safe.
Wow, that is crazy. Just get her a gym membership, bruh. That's doing too much. That's doing too much. Like, shorty, get a gym membership. Stop playing. Them runs are not that important. Or move. Like, come on. You really gonna She got this man wasting gas following her while she on her runs, man. Come on, bruh.
A couple weeks before she died.
Susanna Pardo still goes on runs, but her husband doesn't let her go alone, so he follows her close.
And this the problem with these females talking about, like, with the strong independent. Like, I guarantee she probably went to her husband. I'm not gonna let this stop me from going on my runs. He's not gonna change my life. All this stuff, man. Like, that's the attitude to get you killed.
Behind in his car to ensure she's safe.
Today, the state of California added another $50,000 to the reward in the case of Tioni Theus. Good evening once again, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams. Chuck is off tonight.
And I'm Carolyn Johnson. The LA County District Attorney revealed the 16-year-old found dead along the freeway in South LA may have been the victim of human trafficking.
Wow. So remember the story we did on Tioni Theus, and we saw that her body was dumped on the side of the road, and the community was making a big deal because she didn't get as much attention as Brianna Cooper, the young or 24-year-old white girl who was killed in the furniture boutique, right? So we did the story on Tioni. Obviously, it is our community's responsibility to get the word out on this, okay? Because we do plenty of stuff on the shade rooms, baller alerts, and all these the spiritual worlds. But why aren't y'all putting out the information of this young girl who was taken out? It's because y'all don't care as much as people cared about Brianna Cooper, okay? Y'all don't. And if y'all did, then we would see y'all speaking out about a lot of other situations that go on in the community. But we know that they're gonna only come out if it's a situation involving white supremacy, okay? Like Lauren Smith Fields, for example, okay? She was obviously a sugar baby. She was living fast, and she died young, okay? This situation is almost even more gruesome than Tioni Theus because than Lauren Smith Fields. The Tioni Theus situation is more gruesome because she was potentially forced against her will to be involved in whatever she was involved in, whereas Lauren Smith Fields, she voluntarily involved herself in the sugar dating and in the quasi prostitution lifestyle, okay? So here we have an example of a young black girl who lost her life living the fast life, in overdose. And in this situation with Tioni Theus, we have a situation where this young girl, she was forced against her will to do some obscene acts, it looks like.
NBC4's Angie Crouch has new details for us.
Tioni, you have our promise. You have not died in vain. And everyone will know your name.
State and local officials are pulling out all the stops to try and find the killer of Tioni Theus. The 16-year-old from South LA was found shot to death along the 110 freeway near Manchester Boulevard January 8th. Today, the state of California added $50,000 to the reward for her killer, bringing the total bounty to $115,000.
Okay, so she's almost caught up to Brianna Cooper. Brianna Cooper got a $250,000 reward, and they got Tioni up to 115. Wow, hold on, let me do some math right quick. Is that is that 3/5? Let me make sure. Wow, okay, I thought it was 3/5, but it's 0.46, so it's about 50%. But that's crazy. I would have been like, oh man, the Hoteps are gonna go crazy over that.
Tioni's uncle says he's grateful the case is getting the attention it deserves.
No way. Tioni's uncle is Ayatollah. I don't know how to say this man's name. Ayatollah Marv, right? Hold on. I did not know. He's like a street dude. A known blood in LA or whatnot. But he's been doing a whole bunch of interviews and stuff like that. Ayatollah Marv. Yeah, that's his name. That's crazy if this is really her uncle.
The attention it deserves.
It's overwhelming that that many people has
Yep, that's him. That's crazy.
come out in the testimony that this little girl has brought to the world.
Today, the district attorney's office revealed that court documents show Tioni Theus had potentially been the victim of human trafficking, and that the teenager became especially vulnerable to exploitation in 2019 after her mother was hit by a car and was left severely disabled.
Wow, so dang. Ma Dukes was disabled and she was out there in the streets.
Children cannot consent to sex work. Any characterization of Tioni as a prostitute or a sex worker is disgusting. She was a child. Her life mattered.
LA City Council members Curran Price and Marquise Harris Dawson say what happened to Tioni should never happen again. And they promise to elevate her case to create new focus on violent crimes against black women and girls. They'll ask LAPD and the city's Civil Rights Department to study the rate at which those crimes are solved and what can be done to prevent them. Tioni's uncle says this gives the family hope that something positive may come from this awful crime.
Her life did matter. And
Where was you at, Ayatollah? Come on, bro. You should have took Shorty up under your wing, man. Dang.
It's a beautiful outcome, but it's sad to think that we dismiss our children so much that it would be a tragedy like this for the focus to become upon them.
Angie Crouch, NBC4 News.
She just left. So I picked her up, she was crying, I kissed her, gave her a hug. I didn't know it was gonna be the last kiss, but I felt good telling her I love her.
Out another top story, the murder of Tionis Theus. Her father speaking out, remembering his 16-year-old daughter, whose body was found on the side of a freeway off-ramp in South LA. It's been 2 weeks since Theus was killed, and the questions surrounding her death are mounting.
Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez is live in Inglewood. And Christina, what an interview with that father today.
So my thing is, they interviewed the father, but why are there rumors going around that she was human trafficked? How are you a father and you allowing your daughter to get human trafficked? That don't make sense to me.
You know, and her father is a very well-known, long-time shop owner here in Inglewood, which is, as far as we know, the last place where she was seen alive by a family member. Watch.
That was my baby girl.
Darian Jackson's baby girl was Tioni Theus. The 16-year-old was found shot to death at the Manchester on-ramp of the 110 freeway in South LA.
And you have to question, how involved was this guy in her life? Because they already said that her mother was, you know, disabled, but it appears that the mother had custody. How involved was bruh in the life? Because I just don't understand how you can't know that your daughter is being human trafficked. And how are you allowing this as a father?
The night before, she told her dad she was going to a party.
She just left. So I picked her up, she was crying, I kissed her, gave her a hug. I didn't know it was gonna be the last kiss. So I feel like something was really wrong that night when she came.
You had a feeling?
I begged her to stay. I said, just stay with me.
Tioni had struggled since her mother was so badly injured in a hit and run. The mom is now living in a rehabilitation facility due to her injuries.
She said, nobody loved me. Because her mom, she's the only person who loved me was my mom. I said, that's not true.
Wow. Man, she was going through it. She was going through it, definitely. But why would she say that to her father? Nobody loved me but my mom. Like, bruh, I hope you was present enough that your own daughter would know that you loved her, right?
Love you.
Tionis Case is in the hands of CHP investigators who say they don't believe she was shot where she was found. Her family has been holding vigils trying to get more coverage for the case, which has gotten less attention than other recent murders like that.
Look at them trying to compare her death to Brianna Cooper's death. It's way different. The reason Brianna's death got so much attention is because, quite frankly, it doesn't happen that often. In the community, this is a everyday occurrence. So our situation is going to get swept under the rug because people are just like, oh, well, that's what they do. God forbid more information coming out and it looks like she's human trafficking. People are confusing that with her willingly doing something, you know? So there's going to be controversy around that. People don't really want to support somebody who they think put themselves in the situation that got them killed. So that's, you know, I'm just telling you how the people think. I'm not saying that she put herself in that situation. I'm just saying that if she was forced against her will and there is some confusion between that, because the streets is talking and the streets know what was actually going on. Props probably knew what was actually going on. But I don't know.
Dad of furniture store employee Brianna Cooper in Hancock Park.
It's troubling and disturbing because she was a young girl, 16 years old, who was shot to death and body was dumped in the freeway like she was garbage.
By a super gremlin. And guess what Brianna Cooper and Tioni Theus both have in common? They were both killed by a super gremlin on demon time.
We live in two different worlds. You got the rich people and you got the poor people, or middle class people, and we on the other side. You know, if I was a rich person, they probably would have found the killer by now. Who knows? But
No. See, the reason why they found that crazy psycho homeless dude who killed Brianna Cooper is because the community spoke up. The reason why they haven't found Tionis Theus killer is because the community doesn't speak up. So you got two different communities with two different values. It has nothing to do with them being rich white folks and y'all being poor or middle class black folks. It has everything to do with the culture and your willingness to cooperate with police. Ain't Ayatollah Marv the uncle, right? Ain't he supposed to have some pull in the streets? Word on the street, he probably already know what happened. Because these dudes say, oh, don't nothing go on in LA without us knowing, or without it. What you gotta, when you come to LA, you gotta check in, you gotta do this, and you gotta show us your passport and your ID, and then you gotta get extorted by us for you to even come to LA. So why can't they find the dude who did this?
I think the Highway Patrol, I talked to him. He's a good detective. He said he's doing everything he can.
The case has definitely gotten our attention, and of course, it's top priority, trying to, finalize this case and get justice for the family. So, the difference is obviously we don't have surveillance cameras like, other types of incidents that might be occurring in other areas. So, of course, we rely a lot on the public.
Right, like they're saying, oh, it would have been solved if it. No, the super gremlin that killed Brianna Cooper, he did it in broad daylight. They had surveillance of the inside where he did it. They had surveillance of the murder. They had surveillance of him walking out. They had surveillance of him going to the convenience store 30 minutes later and buying a Black and Mild and smoking a Brianna Cooper pack right after he killed her.
Right, to call us and, did you see anything?
Investigators and Tioni's father are asking anyone, please come forward.
I can't take it. I don't have no more left in me.
And he says that because he's burying his daughter. 4 years ago, he had to bury his 19-year-old son who was shot when he was leaving work. It's a case that has yet...
What kind of families have two of their children shot and killed, buried before the parents? I swear this only happens in the community, bro.
To have any resolution for him. So on our website at Fox LA, perhaps you can give some information to the CHP. The contact numbers are there, and perhaps give this man and this family much needed resolution, at least in this case. We'll keep you updated on updates. I'm Christina Gonzalez, live in Inglewood. Back to you.
And I guarantee his son's murder has not been solved yet. And unfortunately, it's looking like this one isn't going to get solved either. Thank your no snitching policy in the community. Thank you, gangsters, Bloods and Crips, and all you guys for implementing the no snitch policy in the community. We really appreciate you guys. Thanks, Ayatollah Marv, and all that you guys did, establishing that street code that you so covet.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.